Welcome to Dental Success Beyond Chairside, the podcast that is dedicated to revolutionising the way dental professionals succeed beyond the dental chair. Join us for a unique blend of insightful interviews with industry experts and valuable tidbits of information to help you thrive in your dental specialist practice. In each 20-minute episode, we'll delve into a variety of topics, including HR, marketing, innovative techniques and systems, and AI, to help you transform your practice and unlock its full potential. Whether you're a dentist, specialist, or oral health therapist looking to enhance your practice, this podcast is your go-to resource for professional, personal, and profitable success. Get ready to go beyond the dental chair and discover what lies ahead in your practice journey with Dental Success Beyond Chairside. Welcome to today's episode of Dental Success Beyond Chairside. Have you considered how your clinical choices impact the planet? Today, I'm joined by Dr. Ash Shah, Principal Dentist and owner of Shenton Park Village Dental. A passionate advocate for Eco Dentistry, Dr. Ash integrates sustainable materials and low waste practices into every aspect of her clinic. From compostable oral care packs to significantly reduced clinical waste, she's leading by example, showing what's possible when sustainability becomes part of your everyday operations. Dr. Ash, thank you so much for joining us again on our podcast.
Thank you, Michelle. As always, it's such an honour to speak to you.
I'm honoured to have you here to share what you can with our listeners. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's such a current topic politically, in popular culture, global aspects, community level, businesses. It's just an exciting time for sustainability.
It is. Can you take us back to the beginnings of your practice and share what you implemented early on to make sustainability part of your day-to-day approach?
And then, as you know, and we spoke about this on your last fabulous episode, our business culture and values really are an extension of my own personal values. We're a family with a young child. We have a 4-year-old, and we've always been passionate about doing our bit for the environment. We grew up in Kenya. We were active in conservation, and we saw how human behaviour is integral to the way the environment will function long term. That comes from a business point of view too. We see clear examples of tourism in areas that are well conserved and maintained, and they set their communities up for success. It's no different when you apply these skill sets to any business, including dentistry. So from the get-go, our personal values. I worked at dental practices for over 13 years. And as you know, there were a lot of single-use plastic items. We would fill 6 bins of waste a week. And that was a 2-chair practice with lots of that single-use plastic virtually ending up in landfill. So that set the tone. If we were going to do something new and have a startup practice like we did, we could put things into place while maintaining very strict infection control, but finding alternative ways to create an environment for our patients that would also speak the language of their communities of sustainability.
What sort of replacements were you able to find, Dr. Ash? You talked about single-use plastics. What did you actually do and implement to look at reducing that waste from the 6 bins per week, which is quite significant for 2 chairs if you think about the multiple practices Australia-wide?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did was read the infection control guidelines over and over again, because we were not going to compromise infection control. And that's a question I get asked quite a lot. And it is very clear, again, having the benefit of a startup practice, or if you're relocating, renovating, having a second site, it's all in the planning. We picked equipment firstly, that had lots of smooth plastic surfaces with minimum joinery. It allowed us to have wiping procedures as opposed to barrier procedures. We eliminated a lot of the plastic barriers through our chair and the countertops and things like that, X-ray unit. That was the first thing. Then we found what is in our standard kits. Suction tubes, triplex syringes are two examples, and patient sip cups. Those were three things we implemented straight away. We found a stainless steel option for a patient cup. We found an autoclavable high suction tube and stainless steel triplex syringes. Just those three items made a huge difference to how much single waste would go into our bins every single day.
I think I remember when I attended your practice that you had, because everyone has the plastic lab containers, I think yours are all paper or cardboard, aren't they?
Yeah, you got such a great eye. I know, Michelle, your children are just as passionate about the environment. Really, that is our future. There's so much available on the market. I think what we've lacked in dentistry, which is really obvious to me now, is a unified national sustainability strategy. It exists in other countries, especially the UK, but in Australia, we don't really have any clear direction from our global and national bodies yet.
I think, aren't you going to be part of some national sustainability committee to help dental practices and put this in place?
It's all in the workings. Every change takes time. When there's leadership changes, again, their agendas need to catch up on. I am looking forward to working with the ADA federal team, and I'm just waiting for that to start. I'm giving a lecture with ADA WA on sustainability in dental practices in 2 weeks' time. Again, at our local community level in dentistry, that's definitely a starting point. But the goal would be to really create an ESG certification that dental practices can adopt, that is easy to do, very practical, and translates into better business whilst achieving all of our sustainability goals. So the paper boxes, the biopacks are fabulous. They're great at holding lab work. They're great for storage, and they're not made of plastic.
And for patients as well, you've created that sustainability with patients. So rather than those pharma packs that everyone hands out for the continuing care, do you want to talk about what you give out?
So again, we set up practice. We knew we wanted our brand to be strong. We came from strong values. We had a strong mission. Then we looked at the oral care packs on the market, of which 99% of private practices in Australia use are the two big brand packs. They are made of plastic, the brush is plastic, the bag is plastic, the floss is plastic. That just didn't align with the language we wanted to speak. We saw what was out there, and there wasn't actually a fully put together oral care pack. Again, the cogs were turning, and we thought, well, why don't we create our own? We did that, and you can see them on Village Eco Life. The thing that I love the most is, why do practices give out oral care packs that don't have their own branding on them? Why are we branding for pharmaceuticals in a big conglomerates, really? In the end, the patient wants to see us. They want to see our values. They want to come to us because we have our unique style of dentistry, and just having our practice brand name on fully compostable packs really changed the tone.
Your packs I really love as well, because you have your glass jar with your silk floss,
Yes.
and then your bamboo toothbrush and the bristles you've made compostable as well. For the children, rather than giving out a sticker, you give out a pencil, and the tip of the pencil has got lavender seeds in it so they can plant it to grow. How has that translated? What are your patients talking about when they come to see you? I know that this has been a huge competitive advantage for you in an area there's quite a lot of dentists around. Can you just explain to me what patients are saying with regard to your values with sustainability and the planet?
Well, firstly, the kids that come in, they pick up on it straight away because they're learning about it at school. They're doing garden projects with their communities and school. The patients that are using reusable coffee cups at the cafe around the corner, it's just speaking their language. All we're doing is reflecting the values of our community. Shenton Park really is such an ideal village community. They love it. We also use the same packs on all our global outreach projects. Again, it highlights to them there are lots of remote communities that don't have waste disposal, recycling centres, or any sort of social infrastructure. By giving them the same pack, so every patient that comes to our practice, 10 cents of every dollar spent allows us to then do these projects. Those kids in these communities get the same packs and they use the pencils and plant the same seeds. And there's just this connection between our local community and this global community out there. And that's really empowering.
That is empowering. I have to say your global outreach program is amazing. How many places have you been now in giving back to the global communities?
We've done 14 projects now in the last 3 years.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. As well as being sustainable in your own practice, you're using profits to give back to others worldwide as well. That's been a nice community initiative too.
Yeah, it's so enriching for ourselves and our family and our staff and our patients because it is all interlinked. And I highlighted this last time that we're really part of this big ecosystem, whether it's a social system or an environmental system or a business system, but the values hold through every layer.
I feel that it's impacted on your supply costs significantly as well. Has it made a financial impact by doing these sustainable practices, Dr. Ash?
Yeah, there are layers to this. Smart business planning and then putting all of that into protocols is definitely where your expertise will come in, Michelle. But yes, we, on average, we're spending, let's say, 4.5% on our consumables.
That's amazing.
We did some modelling. As you know, I'm a numbers girl, as you are, Michelle, and my dad's an accountant, so every decision I make, I've got to justify it. We looked at what a single chair practice and a 2-chair practice would save. So we looked at the cost per patient of swapping out single-use plastics. We just did 4 items, 10 patients a day, the dentist working 230 days of the year. And at the end of the year, if you made 4 simple changes, you could save a 2-chair practice just under $30,000. And if you'd kept everything the same, you'd be definitely spending, let's say, an extra 10% on that. That's a lot of money because if you've got a 4-chair practice, that's $60,000. That could afford you wages,
staff, exactly,
equipment, or paying down your loans, or even a heads up on starting a second location. We don't realise how much waste we're creating, but every bit that goes in the bin is costing the practice money.
You talked about the suction, the sip caps and the triplex. How long do they last? Because obviously they're getting autoclavable, so, you know, that over time they might need to be replaced. Like how are you actually doing that and how long do they last?
Yeah, so we're at the 3-year mark now and we haven't replaced any triplex syringes yet. Our stainless steel cups haven't been replaced yet. And the suction tubes, I'd say maybe only 15% would have been replaced. And most of the replacements because it's ended up in the bin by mistake. So it comes back to protocols. If we've just got a really good workflow on our sterilisation techniques, which we would do for our instruments anyway, it just feeds into that and accountability comes in. A lot of our staff are equally passionate about reducing waste. Just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when they're aligning with those values above the needs of a job, they're more likely to do it.
To also add, they're more likely to stay in the practice, and having your team and the culture that you want, and as you said, those foundations with those values, that team is going to stay with you, which is amazing. That helps in a community like yours as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The industry is a tough field for HR, especially now more than ever before. I think having layers to your values is just really important.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest pain point I see in every practice is human resources, your people. Is there anything, Dr. Ash, that we haven't discussed that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I mean, it's just a really important time in the history of our world for us to all do our part. I think most dentists I speak to, I spoke about sustainability at the last dental congress in Perth, and everyone I spoke to was equally passionate. I think where it gets sticky is the mechanics of it all. All I say is the first thing, look at your oral care packs and what you're giving out to patients. Does it abide and hold the same values you would personally and as your business? And then the second is look at some options to have reusable alternatives, because there are lots on the market. There are lots of lectures out there, but sustainability in Australia in dentistry still needs a lot of work, as you know.
And I think, as you said, I feel just start with one thing. I think your oral care packs is probably one easy thing that you can start with. If you start giving out your own branded product, it's in the mind of your patient. It shows more personal care. I feel the patient feels like, oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Just start with one thing. You can look at alternatives. You can get the team involved because, as you said, especially Gen Zers now with climate change, very sustainable, very environmentally focused. They're the people of our future that we want to protect as well. I think what you're doing, Dr. Ash, and with your practice and what you're sharing with the community and the world is simply amazing. If you want to connect with Dr. Ash, all of her socials, LinkedIn will be on our show notes. I'm sure she'll be happy to share what she's learned and where she's sourced products and other supplies from. Dr. Ash, thank you so much for joining us today again on the podcast. Really appreciate everything you're doing. Love chatting to you. Thank you so much. I'll catch you probably at the next Women in Dentistry.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. And thank you for shedding light on, such lateral topics outside of the operations of a dental practice. It's always so refreshing and so much to learn. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. In our next episode, we'll take a closer look at the products we use every day in practice and how they impact our team, our patients, and the environment. I'll be joined by Jürgen, Director of Biohygiene, a company leading the way in eco-conscious infection control. We'll talk about reducing chemical exposure without compromising on safety or performance, and how small changes in your product choices can lead to a healthier, more sustainable practice. Thanks for listening to Dental Success Beyond Chairside. See you next time.